What's going on, toy world? It is me, Rick. Dave is still recovering, and we still got him in our prayers for speedy recovery, which he is doing. So we're always glad to hear that. We got Shane, Indiana Shane, with us, our famous toy hunter here, and kid kicker and employee harasser. So we're a good. And then we got GI-Jon. He is our favorite historian of G.I. Joe that probably needs to, I think Cobra has sent him a virus because it's been a nasty little thing against him going, everything yet. So we're all here, like I said, except for Dave. Tonight we have a guest. I don't know what this guy's story is other than he likes big hairy animals and makes a clothing line based on it stuff. But we have Brandon Hofhines. Am I crucifying your name? Is that how it's pronounced?
Yeah, you did good.
Awesome. I'm not as off in the head as I look. Okay. He's here for our 10 HUT session, and we're going to discuss the interesting business this man has started, and it may or may not differ from the collecting world, but we do cover just geeky stuff in general, and some may consider Bigfoot and all that kind of stuff rather geeky stuff. So, which I'm okay with that. So we will. Let me see if how I can adjust this here. Get this layout. It doesn't always seem to do right. Okay, I'll just swap with Brandon here. Brandon, that's the big guy there. He's hairy too. So everything. So the way we do this, Brandon, is 10 HUT, and it's 10 questions. And you have a chance to answer them questions honestly, and we won't, dox you for doing something wrong here. And you're aware of the questions and stuff. Ironically, when we were prepping for this, I had someone contact me, and they sent me a video, and because they wanted to talk to you about your questions. So I'm like,
okay.
Sure, we can do something. It was kind of difficult because this individual don't speak, so we're trying to do this and everything. So I'll give you the first question, and then we'll fire up his questions and everything. So you ready?
Sure. Ready.
Number one, what is Squatchnut?
What is Squatchnut? That's a great question, and I get that a lot. But first off, I just wanted to say thank you for this opportunity and inviting me onto your guys' show. And it's just an honor to be here, so thank you so much. So what is Squatchnut? So Squatchnut is a website. It is an online store where you can buy anything and everything Squatchy. So what does that mean is if you're nuts about Sasquatch and you're nuts about the outdoors and you like going out and just exploring and getting your inner beast out, I call it releasing your inner Squatch, then you're a Squatchnut. And so we've got everything from hats and shirts and anything that you can think of, cell phone cases, laptop covers, AirPod cases. I mean, you name it, we got it. And so that's kind of where we got it. It was, I'll tell you right now, it was a gamer tag of mine back in high school 23 years ago. And it was something that, because I am fascinated with Sasquatch, and it's been something that it's just been, I don't know, fascinating my whole entire life. And so 16 years in the making, and it finally happened where I was able to get an online store up and running and try to build something that was iconic and people would want to get behind, because it's not just about the Bigfoot, it's not just about the Sasquatch, it's also about giving back to the community. And we can talk about those charities, down the road, but that's kind of what Squatchnut's all about.
So the name it was a gamer tag?
It was a gamer tag on Xbox Live back in 2099, 98, and 2000.
Because whenever you try to Google your thing, it automatically changes it to Squatchnut.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not what I want. Because I was going to make sure I put a tag, I put the link to your page and the description stuff. And so let me make sure I get it all right and stuff. And it kept going to this Squatchnut. I'm like, I want no Squatchnut.
No squash,
So-
no squash here. I actually I created a QR code because it was the same thing. A lot of people are, how do you spell it? So this is a name that I think is very unique, that once people are familiar with it and they recognize what it's all about, it's going to stick. It's going to take a little bit, but I believe that it's going to work.
Yeah, well, that kind of name would make people think it might stick to the bottom of your shoe too. So you kind of. Yeah.
Well, let's do our best on making some videos and some content to prove that to be not the case.
Hey, the one that me and Arrow did for you, I cannot believe it showed up in the first page of Google Images.
It was awesome.
People pay big money to get put there, and there we were. I'm like, that's so freaking awesome. So that was a lot of fun to do. The crowd we drew just doing that was fun just by itself, everything. Well, anyways, that being said, and out from the woods, he wouldn't tell me exactly where he was. I don't know, maybe he likes hiding or something. I don't know. But let me, like I said, he sent video. I will have to stop it from time to time when he asks us his questions. So here we go. Yeah. That's Mr. Foot. Yeah. So, yeah, Mr. Foot, he got a question for you. First question, go ahead. Yeah, he forgets to type sometimes, so yeah.
Great question. I have never seen one, but I have had 3 different instances or occurrences where some things have happened where I cannot explain it other than it being a Bigfoot.
Being a Bigfoot. All right. Maybe that's what he wanted to know.
So good job. You're doing really well at being hide and seek champion so far for me.
So do you think Bigfoot's good or bad?
You know, to tell you the truth, my favorite movie is Harry and the Hendersons. And I want to believe that he is a nice guy. Now, I think with anybody else, if you antagonize anything the wrong way, they're going to defend their own, right? But I believe that, honestly, do you guys want to know what I really believe?
Sure.
So if you go back to biblical times, in Genesis 4, it talks about how Cain was cast out of God's presence and he was cursed with a mark of a beast and to live out his days until the second coming, and him and his descendants. And so it states in there that Cain was so upset and said, how dare you cast me out of your presence forever? And it's not fair because I will be out of your presence and you're going to make me a beast into something that someone's going to want to hunt and kill. And God came back and said, I will make it where no one can hunt you or find you and be killed. There was a guy that, went out and was on horseback and said that he had a conversation with the Bigfoot back in like the 1800s, and said that he talked to him and said that he was Cain and he was just out and living the rest of his days on earth until the second coming. And that's what I believe. I believe that, he is there, and it makes a lot of sense in my mind. But I believe that ultimately that he is a kind and gentle personage, if you will. There has been stories that I have read where there was a guy who got hurt and he was way back in there, 20, 30, 40 miles or something like that. And he said a family of Bigfoot took care of him and made sure that he was healthy and that he was able to get out of there. So that's my belief.
That's an interesting take. I don't think I've heard that before. At least he wasn't brought here by little green men. I've heard that one plenty of times, or that is an apex ape. And I mean, everybody's got their theories and stuff. So even to the metaphysical kind of part, just an aspiration, maybe of a dead humanoid from way back in the prehistoric days or something like that. So
interesting.
I've heard a lot of stories where Bigfoot's attack people. stuff like that. Then I've heard a lot of stories like that where Bigfoot's helped. Usually it just seems to be a case of curiosity, and where Bigfoot's just watching or doing his thing and someone sees it. So I mean, if you believe in Bigfoot, you can subscribe to whatever side. If you don't believe in Bigfoot, then it doesn't matter, right?
That's right.
Let's see what else he has. Mr. Foot has here.
Thank you.
Okay. So what do you call me? Bigfoot, Sasquatch, or Yeti?
That's a great question. I call them both Bigfoot and Sasquatch. It kind of depends on the connotation and the way the conversation's going, but typically it's Sasquatch because it kind of matches with the Squatchnut. That way people can relate it and say, "Oh, okay, so Squatch and the nut." So
I got you. I watched a documentary years where they were talking about the Yeti being the ancestor of Sasquatch, and that the Yeti migrated here during the land part before the continents separated.
yeah, I remember that.
Because you've got stories of Yeti, Bigfoot all the way back. Of course, Sasquatch is what the Native American name for Bigfoot. I don't know where Bigfoot came and stuff, but there's a whole lot of cultures that have a version of the Bigfoot all over the place. So it's funny how an image and stuff, especially nowadays, it's not nothing new because we can throw it on social media and somebody all over the world sees it. But before, just somebody 2 miles away were probably not anywhere a clue of what was going on 2 miles away from them. So, and if you traveled a day, that was the whole journey. You had a caravan or now and stuff. So you got people talking about an animal existing in South America, North America, and stuff like that. You're going something got to be to it. That would be a really bad case of mass hysteria. I mean, or mass whatever that word is, stuff. But all right, let's see what Mr. Foot has for us here. Why use Sasquatch for an image?
For my logo, is that?
Yeah.
That's a great question. So what I did is I've actually completely recreated the image of the Sasquatch, and this logo is something that you're not going to find anywhere but on Squatchnut or through me. So as you can tell right here in the camera, there's the state of Idaho is in between the legs. And I did that for a few different things. As number one is I wanted it to be something that people can really go out and say, I know what that stands for. I know what that means. And it's not just about a mythical or cryptic creature that we all want to either believe in or want to know it is real or not, but it's also because it's for a good cause. So the reason why I used the Bigfoot for the logo is because it's a very iconic figure. There's a lot of people that can actually relate to it, a lot of people that follow it because of the passion they have for Sasquatch, Bigfoot, or Yeti. And then I want to start doing something different where we can start giving back to the community, giving back to people here in the nation, where we can make a difference in somebody's life on a positive note. And so that's why I created it, because when people see this Sasquatch, because I get text messages all the time from my friends and my family saying, "Oh, I just saw a Squatchnut on a guy's car." I'm like, "No, you didn't. It's a Sasquatch, but it wasn't a Squatchnut." And they're super stoked and they're super excited, which is great because that's what we need, right, to get the word out. And but when people start seeing it, then they can actually start knowing what it all means and the connotation and just that family, that camaraderie, everything like that that's behind it. And then that way, it's just reaching out to so many different people on so many different levels. And so that's why I chose the Sasquatch.
Cool.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's very true. So that's a great question, Mr. Sasquatch there. So I donate to one charity right now. I'm meeting with another one next week where I would love to get something started with them. And so the first charity is called Outfitters for Hope. And what they do is they're out of here, out of Idaho, Boise, Idaho. The guy who founded it is a captain of a fire station down here, but he used to be a part of what's called it's not Make-A-Wish, but it's a Hunt of a Lifetime. And so they just kind of started to get too commercialized and started getting away from the true message of kind of what the whole meaning behind that whole organization was. So he decided to break off and start his own. So I reached out to Kyle and I said, hey, I want to make a difference and I want to do something in these kids' lives where it's a positive, right? So these kids, I'll tell you right now, some of them, most of them are pretty sad story. They're dealing with a life-threatening illness, and the majority of the time they don't make it, or they're kids from fallen heroes. But the majority of the time they're very, very ill, and they have this passion and this dream that they would love to go on a hunt of, what they want. And it's not just here in Idaho. We take them all over. We take them, Alaska, Africa, even back east. So there's a lot of places that we take these kids, and it's not cheap. And each kid ranges anywhere from $5,000 to $30,000, depending on the stuff that we need to take. So medication, the nurses have got to be there, the facility's got to be accommodating for that person. So there's a lot that goes into it, but we're there to just bring joy into their lives and their families' lives. We record it and we film it, so then that way they have something that they can remember and they can go back and just relive those memories that they made together. And so that's the one that I'm donating. So if every purchase that is made on my online store, I am donating 5% from the net proceeds to that organization. And I'm doing that from now until the end of the year. Awesome. The other one,
Very cool.
Yeah, thanks. It's going to be awesome. And some of these kids we've already got a couple of kids, and we have to go through an application process. It's not just anybody and everybody that we take. We've got to make sure that it's the right person for the right fit, and that we can make sure that we accommodate their needs. So it is a process, but it's just amazing to see the light that comes back in their life. Let me tell you a story. I can remember talking to Kyle, and he told me a story, and this is my first time doing it. So this would be my first year going out with him. And he was telling me about this kid that couldn't walk. And the disease that he had was making him lose all functionalities of his body, even speech. And they were able to put together a rifle for him to shoot a bear. And I got to see the video, and I can tell you right now, this video was so inspiring, because the kid was borderline ready just to end his life and get ready just to stop. And when he was there, and the message that Kyle and his team was able to present to him and say, you know what, life's worth living. And you are surrounded by loved ones, and you know what, God's here and he's going to take care of you. Then that light in their eyes and the passion they got back to fight was amazing. And I can't wait to be a part of that. So that's going to be something fun.
Awesome.
You give me chills with that one, bro.
Well,
I love stuff like that, man.
Me too. I'm glad that we can.
Is the main thing.
That's right.
It's kind of like with us, we want to pass on what we love in toys and collecting the toys to other kids, younger kids, to younger generations. So that gave me chills, man.
That's pretty awesome what you guys do as well. So I commend you for what you guys do and how you guys want to give back and make sure that you're passing on. I mean, the things that you guys are doing and what you're passing on, I'm telling you right now, the kids growing up, if it wasn't for you, they wouldn't have any idea what the heck the kind of childhood that we kind of grew up with, right? And that was the best kind.
Yep.
So,
boomers aren't so bad.
Not at all.
All right,
The other charity that I'm going to be trying to work on, it is for mental health. There's a organization here. It's a secondhand store that I've got to really know the board members and the people who run it very, very well. And our visions align with wanting to help kids and adults and men and women. But right now in the state of Idaho, suicide, we are 36% higher than anybody else in the state when it comes to suicide, and especially for men. Point in fact, my dad took his life 3 years ago. I just lost my 8th friend a month ago to suicide. And we've got to do something different. You know, you look back in 1970, I think it was 73 is when the last hospital was closed for mental health and treating mental health. Now, I don't condone the things that they actually did in those facilities and the practices that they did to help cure people. But nonetheless, we were doing something to help with mental illness. And we're not doing anything anymore. And we're starting to see a huge rise in that. So we need to start doing something. So I'm going to be meeting with the board of directors for that nonprofit next week. We're going to have a great conversation. And I'm going to ask them if it's all right that I'm going to have another option. When you purchase stuff online, you can go on and do a drop down and say, I want to donate to the kids, or I'm going to donate to mental health. And then 5% will go to them as well.
pretty awesome.
Fantastic.
Well, that's a big issue today. 22 veterans kill themselves every day.
Yep.
I'm just gonna submit this just for everybody to hear and everything else. People always ask the question of why. I'm gonna give you an answer, something you tangible that you can put your heart and your head and your eyes on. Robert De Niro starred in a movie in the late 70s called Taxi Driver.
Mm-hmm.
Watch that movie. At the end of that movie, and you see everything that happened, replace driving a taxi with social media, and you'll understand why the world's gotten to be where it's at.
Yep.
I agree 100%.
Pure and simple. You talk about the Simpsons is always came up with stuff and Trump's presidency and they're predicting the future. That movie predicted so much of what's happening today. And I don't understand there are people that know a whole lot more than me that can go, well, there was people understood this back then, but now they act like they don't. And what you just said, I worked for 7 years in a home for the intellectually disabled. When they closed the institutes down here, they all put them in private little homes where they over-medicate them and turn them into zombies. And they're really, honestly, not no better than they were unless the family has extra money to pay. It's all still about money. And the ones that can't be afforded to keep in a home are put on the streets.
Yep.
And and then I've got personal friends that suffer from mental illness. They are great when they take their medications. They get along just fine, but they won't take their medications or they self-medicate with alcohol or other kind of things and creates all other bunch of problems, which just compounds on the problems they already had. And when you get to the point in life where you feel that there's no escape, no hope, because we've destroyed God, we've destroyed the church, we've destroyed religion, period. We've destroyed self-accountability to the point that you're just lost. There's nothing. At least if you have something to blame, you have something there to work towards and everything. But we've just that's a very good thing that needs to be. It's a conversation that needs to happen a whole lot more. It needs to be happening without people worrying about hurting someone's feelings, because it's the greater good that we need to be concerned with, not the individual's feelings. But that's my personal opinion. So,
well, I appreciate you sharing your opinion and your feelings about it, because I agree 100%. And you made a really good statement about communication, right? We need to start communicating. There's been so many of these friends of mine that never expressed the way that they were feeling, because I don't know, but I'm going to take a wild guess, and that's probably because they felt they were going to get somewhat in some way persecuted, judged, mistreated. And that right there is one thing that we can do better as a society is we don't judge because we don't know the demons that people are fighting within. And when they come to you, they're coming to you out of love and they're coming out of, hope and trust. And we need to make sure that we ensure in them the love and the charity and the compassion that Christ would have. And we need to sit there and say, you know what? I'm sorry that you feel that way. And I want you to know that I love you. And I want you to know that you're worth something. And I had a great conversation with a really good friend of mine back in February that I felt very, very honored that he came to me and said, I feel like I want to give up. And we had a really good conversation. We're sitting in the hot tub at the time. And, I just said, I can tell you right now that as bad as you think that your life is, if you ever did do something like that, think about how that's going to take an effect on me because I love you. You're a brother. You're not a friend. You're a brother. But more so, you got 6 kids, man. And you just, you have a baby. What's that going to do? That's going to mess them up for life. I was, that was 3 years ago. So 37 years old when my dad took his life, and it still messes with me.
Yeah.
And my friends.
Well, let me share something with you, Brandon. A friend of mine that survived her suicide attempt made a statement to me when I drove her home from the hospital for why she didn't come to me, and I reflected on it for quite some time. But she thought that I would not be able to relate, that I didn't have problems. There's no way I could relate to someone that had problems. So if she was to talk to me, I wouldn't be able to, that I would just, either just give her answers I thought she wanted to hear or anything like that and stuff. I'm like, I have problems of my own, and I have ways of dealing with it. Maybe that's what you needed to hear. But she didn't figure that someone that she thought had no problems could relate. Mm-hmm. And it's like, so, it's like you don't go ask the electrician how to fix your plumbing. Yep. And it's like that. But it's that same mindset. It's like, well, why would I talk with Rick? Rick don't understand. How can he help me? He doesn't understand. I'm like, well, because chances are I probably do, Yep. And that's the thing with the therapists. A lot of people don't like talking to therapists because they don't think they relate to them. Yeah. You live in these little ivory towers with all your money and your degrees and everything. What do you understand about, struggling to feed all them kids and everything and feeling like you're a failure all the time kills your self-worth. And when a man loses his self-worth, stuff. But again, I want to go back to that taxi driver. Watch that, and it would give you a view on things. You'd be like, that makes perfect sense. And I'm not the biggest Robert De Niro fan, but he did a great job on that. And it was way above his time. And if more people would go back and watch that movie, like I said, just replace driving a taxi with social media, you'll understand. Yeah. Because even just watching your friends on social media and they post all the pictures of their lovely life and all that kind of stuff, and you go, wow, they've got it so great. Yep. We all, in our group, we all know Shane's got all the money. It makes us feel bad that Shane has all the money. John's wife's a freaking 4-star chef, and stuff. Not that any of us is underfed, mind you, but it's like, yeah, we don't eat that good stuff. But you see the pictures on Facebook and you're going, my friends have these great lives and I have nothing. And then that whole time they fall for that and they go, well, I can't go to them because they wouldn't relate because they don't know what it's like to go hungry. They don't know what it's like to be scorned or anything like that. And it's like, so sometimes that communication is important, but people don't like to ask for help. I'm one of them people. People have said that I'd go without eating before I'd ask somebody for a biscuit or something. But yeah, I guess I can be that way and everything. But yeah, it's a tough thing, and it's even worse when we carry a little bit of guilt with us that we didn't help. Right. Sometimes we're not Doctor Strange with a miracle thing to see the future and stuff like that. So we only can do what we can.
Yep, that's right.
So let's see what Mr. Foot has for us. He always forgets to type.
Thanks.
You heard you had a birthday recently.
I did. Yeah, it was last Wednesday. So thank you, Mr. Foot. Appreciate that.
I guess you probably didn't see him, but he saw you, huh? Yeah.
That's right.
Probably so.
Yeah, I just broke something. But anyways, I guess he wanted to tell you happy birthday and all that. And
Well, tell him thank you.
maybe he's a nice guy after all.
I believe he is.
I guess he does.
Hey, thanks. See you later, Mr. Foot. Appreciate your time.
Well, all right. That did not kill nobody and stuff. So Philip says hi.
Hey, Phil.
Hey, Philip.
All right. We already. Okay, so let's go. Now we got question number 7. Do you have any Bigfoot collectibles? Do you collect anything Bigfoot?
Well, if I could find some stuff, then yes. I want authentic stuff, if that makes any sense. But I mean, I guess I do collect things. So you guys are toy collectors. You guys are going to really enjoy this. So when I think it was 4 or 5 years old, I was back in West Virginia and over there in Nashville visiting family. I got a lot of family back there, especially in Elizabethton. Apparently, that whole town's my relatives. But I remember I love trucks, and I don't know if any of you guys have seen my truck recently, but it's all squatched out and it's lifted and all that. And I guess I kind of followed my childhood dream that my grandpa gave me. It's not a Ford, it's a Ram, but he gave me a little Ford pickup toy that was like a monster truck that said Bigfoot. It wasn't the Bigfoot monster truck, but it was like a Ford truck that said Bigfoot on it. And I love that thing. I would just go up and down the driveway, the sidewalks with it. And I got it still, and it's in one of my boxes out in my garage with my childhood stuff. But yeah, so now it's just on to Squatchnut stuff from here on out.
Well, I was also wondering if you had any like Bigfoot molds or anything like that. I mean, like stuff like that, or you know, people collect those molds that are made from the feet and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. That'd be kind of cool. You got a closet back there full of Bigfoot memorabilia. Bigfoot broke this twig in 1972.
Yeah. Nothing yet. No, I've had. Well, I should have grabbed that rock that was thrown at me a while back ago when I was hunting. But here's the thing: when I go hunting, I bivvy in, and it's 15, 20 miles, maybe a little bit further back in. And the only thing that I want to carry out is meat. I got already a heavy pack. I don't want to be hauling everything else out. And, but no, having a cast would be awesome if it was something like I am going to be going over to Eastern Idaho and over up into like McCall area, central Idaho. There's been some sightings up there. The gentleman actually and the young woman who had these sightings said that they could take me back, and they've been back there multiple times and they've seen them again. So I'm just waiting for the snow to melt so we can actually get that planned. But yeah, I intend to have some authentic stuff in the near future for sure.
Well, somebody needs to send you some. Anybody watching this, send this man some big feet or something.
There you go.
Some Sasquatch dung. Yeah, don't sniff the brown Ziploc. It's not brownies. All right.
That's funny.
Well, if there is anything Bigfoot collectible or anything, do you have a grail? Would there be like the ultimate thing you could find or something like that, you think? Other than actual Bigfoot yourself and get a selfie with them. But yeah.
That would be the ultimate, wouldn't it? Is the Bigfoot himself.
Well, maybe he'll talk to you like that dude said he did to him. So yeah.
Right? Yeah. Who knows? I got to find him first. I mean, I don't know. I could tell you my experiences, and I can let you know that I know for a fact it was Sasquatch. There's no other explanation for it. I've been hunting for 30 years, and I know all the sounds of all the animals out there, even the mountain lions when they want to, you know, when they're ready to mate, they make this weird noise, man. And you don't think you'd never come out of a cat, but it sure does. But yeah, that would be probably the most, right, is going out there and filming it, getting it on camera, making sure that people know that it's authentic, that it's not been baked or anything like that. Of course, you're gonna have your haters, but that would be ultimate.
Stick with history, it'll be always blurry and stuff, like the Patterson video and all that stuff. You know, it's like some reason that adds to the thing of the Bigfoot, because it's like all the quality is really, really poor and everything else, and you get better quality. People do all the time on Facebook and their selfies and stuff, but yet the picture of the Bigfoot's always blurry. You can't make out who it was. I'm like,
Yeah.
So of course that gets me. I'm a photographer, so I'm like, carry a camera. Quit relying upon your stinking phones.
Right.
Right.
Well, I mean, I can tell you this. I've been hunting for 30 years. I've ran into 3 black bears. That's it out of the 30 years. I don't ever run across a carcass. I don't ever run across another one. And the one time that I ran across one, it was a huge bear, big. And you get it on camera, and I took a picture of it. It's still blurry. It doesn't matter. But anyway.
Well, yeah, it'd be helpful to get one, and you know, him stop for a minute and go.
Right?
Yeah.
Or like, yeah. You know,
other than Mr. Foot, we don't need Mr. Foot doing that,
but like you, I am an avid hunter myself, and I've got multiple game cams set out, and even the pictures I catch on them at close is very blurry. You know, well, not real blurry, but they're blurry, still blurry. So I mean, it's what it is, you know.
It is what it is. Yeah, you're right. So speaking of trail cameras, and you've caught a few, this one spot where we had a guy, or one of them, howl at us in the middle of the night and shut everything up. All the elk, and the birds, everything shut up, and it was enough to have me grab my gun and put it under my pillow for the rest of the night.
Yeah, I've done that.
We could not find the elk again the next morning, and we stayed in this abandoned camp that we found up top. And we rode our horses in. It was 15 miles in on top of the mountains, so high that you could see the Tetons. So we were probably 14,000 feet. And like I said, that camp was abandoned. Everybody was gone, but they left everything behind. Everything. We thought they would come back because maybe they were out hunting, but they never came back. So we just stayed there in their tent. They had cots. They had pans, they had pots. I mean, they had everything that you needed to stay there. So we just kind of used their facilities for just a little bit, made sure that we put everything back and cleaned, right? But that next morning when we couldn't find the elk, we went to our trail camera. And I'm telling you right now, we had this thing 7 feet above the ground. And I had to literally hoist my brother up and hold him while he put it in there because it was overlooking a wallow. And we were going through the pictures, and we saw some really nice elk, some really big bulls, a really fat cow, like huge cow, one of the biggest cows we've ever seen. So we knew it was promising that they were in the area. And then we got to this one photo where, I'm not joking, guys, and I have the picture, and it's of the guy, a black hairy hand that's like that in front of the camera. 7 feet high, it would be like this if it was a man. But to be completely horizontal, there's no way that was a man. And it was black and had 5 fingers and hair. So
that's kind of weird.
Sorry, I was bored. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, that's
very interesting.
Well, let's do number 9. So tell me about the product shuffle. What kind of product shuffle? What you got now, and what you gonna, what you got in the pipe there?
Yeah, great question. So we've got over I think almost 600 products now, different products that you guys can go online and choose from. So like I said, we've got hats, we've got shirts, we've got hoodies, I've got underwear, boxer briefs. Look at that. Yeah, there we go. He's got his on. You know what they say about big feet, Rick, right?
No, I don't. No.
Big footprints, my friend. Big footprints.
I know, right? They wear big shoes.
That's right. So we've got cell phone cases, iPod cases, blankets, towels, swimsuits for the men and the women, socks. I mean, you name it, we got it. I mean, if there's something that I don't have, you just let me know and we can make it happen. A couple of things that we don't have on the website right now is I have a barbecue kit. So I have an apron, I have a scraper, I've got a meat tenderizer. There's some more stuff. I can't remember what it's all in there, but there's about 5 different products in that barbecue kit. Now you can buy them individually if you want, which is totally fine. But if you buy the kit, we have a deal going on them right now. It's like a $60 deal for $29, and you get the whole thing basically. So, so you have that.
Does it say kiss the cook, the chef, or kiss the nut? What?
You got me thinking now. I'm gonna have to do some redesigning of that logo. It just says Squatchnut.
Okay.
But I like it. There's a company that we're working with that's like those iron cutouts that you see that are like really, really. I guess I should have brought some in here. Dang it.
I saw where you helped that guy retrieve or repair his or one that got stolen.
Yeah.
That was pretty good of y'all, man.
Yeah, thanks. I heard that his got stolen. Some kids took it, and then he just replaced it with like this really chintzy one that was just made out of like tin aluminum or something. And it wasn't adequate. And so I went to him and I knocked on his door, and about a week later he called me and I was like, hey, I just would love to donate a 7 by 5 foot Sasquatch, and then it's 3/8 thick. It's steel. And it's not going to go nowhere. And we welded it and we put it in a cement like block inside the ground. No one's taking it. So, and he was just flabbergasted. He was just super stoked about it. So we did that. So I can do those, and those can be any size. And then I have like coat hangers that we're going to be
shipping. It'd be really costly on them things.
Yeah, the big ones. Yeah.
Have a flatbed pull up in front of your house, like you come up with a forklift off of it. It's like, oh, we're here with your Bigfoot.
Yep.
I actually saw some of those yesterday, the Bigfoot cutouts out of the real thick metal. I saw some of them yesterday, and I thought, well, I should buy one of those, but we were in Tupelo and didn't have a truck with us, so.
Oh, geez.
They were like $80. So.
Yeah, really how big was it?
Oh, it was probably 5 foot tall.
Okay. Was it really thin, or how thick was it?
No, it was really thick metal. It was probably 1/4 inch, 38.
Wow.
Metal was cut out of.
Yeah, I know.
Cut out on the label table.
There's a business that used to have, but they got a 10-foot one out front of their store, and they closed a couple of months ago. I've been meaning to try to get somebody and see about getting that, but it looks so big and heavy. I don't know if I have any way of hauling that thing, but it's huge. But it's the old style. I mean, you've redesigned your own look with your Sasquatch in that classic walk, where that one's all kind of still that classic kind of look and stuff. But yeah. They had one stolen that was kind of the size like you were talking about that guy had, and when they had a new one put in, it was big. So yeah, I'm like, yeah. So anyways,
we'll have to try to get you one.
Get it, Rick.
Do what?
So we'll have to try to get you one.
We'll have to figure something out. But well, let's go to number 10. What's the future of squashy nuts? I mean, Squatchnut. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. What do you got on the pike, man? Where do you see yourself, say, in 5 years? Where do you want to be?
Well, in 5 years, so I got a podcast that we just started. I'm going to start doing some filming and putting together some YouTube documentaries and whatnot. So it's kind of be a mix of entertainment with logistics and scientific proof, if you will. And I want to make sure that we're doing justice to Sasquatch or Bigfoot. I really see Squatchnut taking off and just kind of getting everywhere and anywhere, and then people wanting to get behind a great brand that supports a great cause or causes. I really see that this really is just in its infancy still. We started it in November, and by the sheer, like, we're 14,000% growth just within that time from November to now. And with people like you, Rick, helping out, and Ariel, it means the world to us, and means the world to me and my team. I have to give a huge shout out to my team real quick, guys. Like, I have like the best team. My copywriter, Janelle, Mike, my web guy, Colton, my ClickFunnels guy. I just have got the best team, and honestly, like, we've talked about taking other people's businesses and dreams and helping them do what we've done with Squatchnut, and trying to help them also make a difference in this world. Because if we can do it and we can help other people do it, I think that it's going to be an uphill battle, but I think that we can really make a difference in this world if we all clan together to make it happen.
Sounds like a good idea, man.
Good plan.
Well, I support you and behind you, and we throw you a little support in some goofy videos from here in Alabama. So Bigfoot just ain't a big thing down here. Even though we do have, I don't remember the city. I can never remember the city. We do have the Bigfoot capital of Alabama here somewhere. It's down south central Alabama kind of thing. I'll probably make my way down there one of these days and stuff.
Well, you let me know when that is, and I'll see if I can fly down there and meet you.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Get you down here and everything and stuff. My next little excursion, I found a waterfall, and I want to go do some Bigfoot doing the lotus in front of the. Bigfoot needs to meditate. Yeah, that's how he deals with humans. Otherwise, he'd be a rampaging beast. Yes.
Seriously.
But anyway,
I think there's some truth to that, honestly.
Yeah, well, if I could go in hiding for a long period of time every days, I would too. Just no one see me, stuff. But Mr. Foot did share with me. He said his girlfriend kind of broke up with him the other day, and everything. He was kind of upset. And I said, "Why?" He said, "Because she said she never sees him." So I'm like, well, I'm sure John Cena has the same problem. So Brandon, man, it's been a real pleasure. You being on.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome to hang out with us and stick around, or if you got busy life and all that stuff, we're dedicated to this cause. But if you got other stuff to do, then you can make your exit, sir, and we appreciate it. Or like I said, you're welcome to hang out.
I can hang out for a few more minutes. Absolutely. We'd love to kind of see what you guys are all about a little bit more. And I did watch you guys last week, and that was really fun and entertaining. And I'm all about supporting you guys as well. So if you guys don't mind, I can hang out for another 5-10 minutes if that's all right.
Kick your feet back and all that kind of stuff.
I do have a question though.
Uh-oh.
Have you ever heard of the skunk ape?
Yes.
In Florida, do you believe that's the same as Bigfoot, just a different name?
I believe that the Yeti, the skunk ape, Bigfoot, and Sasquatch, honestly, you can have the same name for one animal, but I think that this particular thing that we're talking about, I think it has different, I want to say cousins, if you will, right? I mean, you look at the human race, right? You've got us here in America.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got people in Asia and what they look like, right? We're all human, right? So they're all bipedal something. Yep. But I think that they're all related in some way or somehow, for sure.
Yeah, because I know, like Louisiana has the Rougarou, which they consider it part man, part wolf.
Yeah.
But, I figure it's probably just the same thing, as a Sasquatch or Bigfoot or Yeti or whatever. And I promise I've seen a Bigfoot before.
Have
when I
you?
was younger. Yeah, when I was younger, me and my cousin actually saw one. Didn't know what it was at the time. I was about 9 or 10, I believe. But we were at his house, and he was taking me home to my grandmother's on the go-kart. It was right at dusk, and something walked across the road. And I mean, it walked. Wasn't on all fours, on two behind legs. Walked across the road. When I was young, I didn't think nothing about it. But as I got older and camping in this, we have land that goes right along the national forest here in Alabama. And as I got older, I started hearing other things in the night. Like you being a hunter, I know these animals.
Yep.
And hearing these yells and just things crashing down for no reason, it kind of got me wondering what this was. So I just started looking into it. And to me, it was the Bigfoot. I'll say it, take it to my grave that it was a Bigfoot. It scared my cousin. I was 10, he was probably 16. Scared him so bad he wouldn't go home.
Wow.
He stayed in my grandmother's house that night.
Wow.
I mean, he was a pretty tough, rough guy then, but it scared him so bad he would not go home. And when we passed it, it come run across the road and stopped in the ditch. And when we passed it, he turned around the road and we watched it. And he just kind of stood there and looked at us for a little while, then walked off into the woods. And it never got on 4 feet at all. It stayed on hind legs the whole time. But like I said, I was young then, didn't know what it was. But as I've got older, I'll go take it to my grave that it was a Sasquatch Bigfoot. Because it was cool.
That's a cool story. I believe you. I believe you.
I told it to all my family. I told it to every one of them. They're like, "Oh, you're crazy." It was just a bear. Because, we got black bears here also. But they are on to something. I'm a little crazy, but whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I'll take it to my grave believing it was a Bigfoot.
There you go.
I've heard things in those woods that I can't explain, like the rocks being thrown.
Yep.
I've had it happen. Sitting in a deer stand, waiting, and next thing you know, here's a rock flying out in the woods, and there's no explanation for it at all.
Nope. Have you ever had any knocks?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hitting on trees and stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Sure
I had one. It was imitating me back and forth. I was raking with elk, you rake a tree with a stick, make it sound like you're in the rut, right?
Right.
And I would go and it would hit the tree, and I hit it 3 times, and sure enough, 3 knocks came. I'm like, that's weird. Elk don't knock. So then I hit 2 times, and it knocked twice back.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is, and I know for a fact that where I was, there was nobody in there. It was stupid how far and deep and black and that hole was. It was nasty.
That's with us. The land we own, there's no one else going to be on that land other than me and my dad and my uncle. And they weren't nowhere around. So things I heard and the yells, the hollers and stuff, it just sent chills up your arms. And I mean, I can't explain it. I've been hunting my whole life.
You are making me regret not using the X-Files music to start this.
Nice.
I remember.
Get a little weirder. We'll end it with a Twilight Zone.
I remember mine.
I'll take it to my grave that was a Bigfoot. And every time we go camping over on our land, that's the first story I tell everybody. But like you, I have slept with my camping. I have slept with my pistol under my pillow because of hearing things that I could not explain.
I do that now, and I'm in the city. Anyway.
So I remember that my grandfather said that he saw a Black Panther behind his house in Virginia, West Virginia, right? A Black Panther. Right. And we all know that everybody thought they were not existent. They were extinct and all that stuff, right? They were not there. Well, by God, he actually got one on film, and it's a Black Panther. So, I mean, the thing is these woods are so vast and so thick that the amount of people or amount of area that we've been able to cover and actually explore is very, very small.
Right.
So,
Well, that's kind of like with us here in Alabama, mountain lions. People, oh, there ain't no mountain lions here, but yes,
They're there.
Tennessee's just right, just 100 miles away, and Florida is just a couple 100 miles away. So these animals do travel.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, and they scream sounds like a woman screaming.
Oh yeah,
I've heard one. It'll make your pants legs roll up. You hear it be out at night and you hear that sound. You don't want to be out close to it, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
But I remember my grandparents and my mom and them talking about when they were little and all about, they called them jack-o'-lanterns. They were like a ball of fire that would chase them through the woods and things like that. But it was funny. My grandparents on both sides, one lived like over here close to where we live, and others lived over around Piedmont, two different areas. But I remember them talking about it. Said you'd be out and they would start chasing you through the woods. Said it looked like just a ball of fire. And I always wondered what that was, or what it could have been. It's just weird. All those weird things.
Yeah.
Well, growing up in this town up north Alabama called Wheeler, they have a legend called the White Thing. And we lived there as a kid. In fact, we'd probably still been there for a lot of years, but the house caught fire. But it sounded like a woman almost being strangled, screaming, running through the woods at night. It was like kind of a white, like grayish apparition that you could see running through the woods. It would steal chickens, kill dogs. It would leave scratch marks on the side of houses and stuff like that. So, and as a child, I remember us it hitting on the back of the house and my aunt dragging us out the front door, getting in the car, running. And I remember watching something come around the side of the house, start to chase us. Everything, Of course, I was a kid, so we all ducked in covered, and then we just heard a lot of commotion going on when we come out underneath those covers. It was all over and stuff. But yeah, that's something I'll never forget. But it moves so quick and in such a way. It was like watching a bad camera trying to focus on something moving. It was always in a blur motion, and you just couldn't. But it, like I said, it left claw marks. It ate people's chickens. It killed their dogs. Stuff. People would get, well, I got this big dog. It'll protect it, and then that dog would literally have a neck broke.
Right.
I mean, that place is all pretty much farmland now, and the old folks that used to live there, that nobody wants to. There was a side of there was an old house way back in the woods, close to the river, and one of the walls was actually just kind of ripped through. And they said that it did that to that. I mean, stuff. So I mean, it's kind of old house. That ain't no telling what could have done it, but they always said, yeah, that was why that family left, because it tore through that wall trying to get to that family and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's one of the things where, yeah, that's crazy. I'm like, well, I know what I saw. I might have been a kid, but that's a traumatic kind of thing. You're going, I remember that. I remember hearing that. I remember laying in bed at night hearing it, and everybody's telling, mom and them's like, just shut up, go to sleep. It won't bother you if you're asleep. So with you, it's worked better than telling us to go to sleep because Santa Claus was coming, because it was like, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. So yeah, I'd get up and we'd be missing chickens, and we raised chickens when I was a kid. People down the road missing chickens and stuff like that. And like I said, I remember a couple of dogs come up missing, and that one big, it was like a either big Doberman or a big bulldog or something like that, or maybe something. But something just broke its neck, twisted the head all the way. I mean, literally just, the dog was looking backwards and stuff. And like, so always traumatic things. So I don't discount kind of stuff. But people don't listen to me because I used to travel around, and I got a friend of mine who's an author of books and stuff, Dr. Joe Slate, and we used to travel around and do conferences and talks on the paranormal and stuff like that. And I'm a registered parapsychologist, so so I like to investigate that, listen to people's stories and all that kind of stuff. And while sometimes they're outlandish, it's hard until you experience something yourself. It's really kind of and stuff. Some people that religious people don't believe in stuff sometimes. And I'm like, have you ever seen a healing in your church? Well, yeah, I saw all right. Then try to tell somebody that's never saw one that what you saw.
Exactly.
they'll tell you,
There's
well, it's
so
all
much unexplained out there, man. It's just unreal.
it's just
for
all
sure.
psychosomatic, power of suggestion, all that kind of stuff. Like, well, I don't know. That guy needed 4 back surgeries, and now he's more active than I am. So I don't know. You tell me. So
Yep.
It
kind of bring up a good point. It kind of reminds me of like we were up at it's called it's a hot springs. It's Silver Creek Plunge, and it's a little bit in central Idaho. And my wife and I, we were just camping on the other side of the hot springs, and you could take these trails, and you have your little camp spot, and then you have some trails that you can take, and goes up into the woods and whatnot. And we got, I don't know, not that far, honestly, maybe a half a mile in. And then all of a sudden, my wife just, I got to go back. Something's watching us, and we got to go back. And all of a sudden, I got the same feeling. I felt like something was watching us, and it just was a creepy, eerie feeling. And we went back, and I never thought anything of it, right? I was like, whatever, it's just a really creepy thing, and who knows what it was. Just as of recent, I met a lady who wrote 4 books on Bigfoot, and it's called Bigfoot Lives Everywhere in Idaho. And she has over 150 different stories of people with encounters. And lo and behold, I'm reading this book, and I'm reading over the different locations, and I'm not joking. That same week, like 2 or 3 days after my wife and I were there, a couple saw a Bigfoot in that same area and reported it. And it was just crazy. I was like, all right, that's why and our intuition is going, like our senses, right? We got spidey senses, if you will. Man, you got to listen to them. They know.
Oh yeah.
Well, around here, if people say Bigfoot, they usually call me and go, "Rick, you run around without your shirt on again?" I'm like, "No, it's probably a Bigfoot."
Did he have a cup of coffee in his hand or no?
Plus, I got size 14 feet too, so if I'm barefooted, I'm gonna leave you a print. 300 pounds, I put them deep too. So. All right, let's talk some toys. Let's talk some toys. That was not toys. I got one thing I'm proud of because everybody keeps stealing it from me. See this? Yeah. Yep. And if you follow me on Instagram, you will see some fairly decent pictures. I had a bunch of them in mind, but I was late to the game, so some awesome toy photographers have already done those pictures that I had in mind, but I'll come up with something. Anyways, that's about the only thing that I really found and got because it's just been dry around here. Too many clearance things, and I've already took advantage of those clearances, everything. And this line, I hope it succeeds. I kind of think that Hasbro messes up again. It's like that the way the case should have came with one of the other figures and then 2, 3, 4 indies, because that's everybody I see is like, well, I'm not gonna do the line, but I'm gonna get Indiana. Everybody wants Indiana Jones for the show, all that kind of stuff. So who doesn't like Indiana Jones? Mixture of James Bond and other few things there and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of cool and everything else. And also because I wasn't happy the way Hasbro did their stuff. We bit the bullet because I usually don't spend as much or more on accessories than I do the figure. But we bit the bullet and got the accessory pack from Gridiron Studios. It comes with a belt that looks like it's real leather. The gun is the right size. It goes in the holster. The lasso is actually a wire bendy one and stuff, so you can roll it up, and it does stay clamped to the belt. And it comes with the coolest little thing yet is this. It comes with a torch. Wow. So I'm carrying the torch for Gridiron Studios. So we'll start the Olympics. So it's going to be pretty cool. Everybody knows I'm a tour photographer. So I was glad to get it. stuff like that. So, and that's about all I've got. So I've spent most of my week preparing to interview Brandon here because I thought it would be interesting, and it was. And so again, I'm glad you came on with us, Brandon, because this has been kind of cool. I had no idea that many of us had experiences. Me and Shane, we're about the size of a Bigfoot, so we probably and stuff. So, but anyways, well, John, Shane, which one of y'all want to go first? Who's got something? How you doing, John? You hanging in there, buddy?
I'm hanging in there. Yeah.
You want to go ahead and go in case you want to take a break, or?
Yeah, I can.
I mean, it's usually your turn. Huh?
I wanted to, like I said,
we ain't got Daddy Dave here, so I'm confused.
I wanted to dig out my Alpha Flight Sasquatch to have up here just for the show, but like I said, I didn't feel like it today, so I didn't get out there and dig for him. He's in a tote somewhere.
I meant to get mine too and stuff, and I was, like I said, I'm doing the video thing, trying to share it, everything, get an audience, all that kind of stuff, because stuff. I spent more time on it, and I had to move a tree, and I've tricked my back out, so I've been dying for the past 4 days. I barely can't bend over, and so I got a nice little letter from the city's homeowners association telling me to remove that tree out of my backyard and cut my grass. I'm like, okay.
Was that the neighbor's tree that fell in your yard?
Yeah, it's nice of them, wasn't it? They cut down a tree, falls in my yard, and leaves it there.
Nice.
But I decided to keep the peace, just move the tree, get all the stuff like that. I did throw the big wood chunks back in their yard, and they disposed of them. I halfway thought they would toss them back in my yard, but they didn't. So. But anyway, sorry, John. Go ahead, bro. Wait. What you got? A Boba Fett shirt on? Is that Boba Fett?
Yeah.
Actually, that's awesome.
Actually, I actually like the color and all too. I found it.
All right, but don't be stripping now. This ain't OnlyFans.
I actually found it on clearance at Second Charles over in Oxford. And
awesome.
Believe it or not, they had an extra large, because usually when it's on clearance, it's small or medium. That's it. Yeah. But somebody must have missed it and it got put on clearance. But yeah,
I'd be happy to get an extra large. Extra large, yeah, that fit my arm. I ordered shirts for Brandon. We've had this conversation. What do you need? I'm like, I need a 4X. I'm like, you can hear his breath gas. All right, go ahead, John. What do you got, buddy?
Yeah, like I said, I wanted to get that Sasquatch, but I didn't. I was trying to think. I can't really think of very many Bigfoot toys that they've made. The only other one I can really think of offhand was back in the 70s with a $6 million man. They made the Bigfoot that he fought in the one episode, but it turned out to be a robot. I believe, if I remember right, it wasn't even a real Bigfoot. But I do know they made an action figure, one of the 12-inch.
Yeah.
And other than that, them's the only two I can really even think of.
So what you're saying is we need to build and create a Bigfoot toy.
There you go. Yeah.
Bigfoot toy line. There you go.
Yeah. There you go.
I like it.
Yeah. There's some static ones that are just little figurines that are in that classic pose. You can pick up at a lot of what do you call them? Side of the road tourist stops that they'll you can get them online and stuff like that. But they're like Chinese molded and not. It's like they're just Bigfoot. So nothing I could use for pictures or anything like that. But, I mean, that's why I'm really happy with my Alpha Flight Sasquatch when they come out with it and everything. So the first thing I didn't put them on my Alpha Flight figures. Took them outside by the little creek and took pictures like the Patterson video of him walking away through the woods. I even made it
blurry. Nice. That's funny.
I do recall an episode of Quantum Leap that had Bigfoot in it. If you recall, at the very end of the episode, remember I can't remember what exactly happened in it, but I remember there was a Jeep, and when they went back, it was turned around facing the other way, and they were wondering how did the Jeep get turned around. And just as Sam was about to leap, you see Bigfoot walking away through the woods, and then about that time he leaps away. And it was in like the last season, I believe it was, or one of the later seasons.
I've checked it out. I'm a Scott Bakula fan, so yeah, I don't remember that. So
Yeah,
that
check it out.
Quantum Leap was his second favorite series he was in. First one only lasted one season. I think it was called 30 something or Single in 30 or something kind of thing. It was freaking hilarious and stuff. I hated it only lasted one season. But now I got to look up an episode. Thanks, John.
Yeah, I never saw that. I remember I seen some Enterprise in it. You know, he was a captain on Enterprise, and then he was in a couple of movies. But I remember what was it? Where he was the retire or the washed up quarterback they brought in when was it Necessary Roughness? I believe was the name of it.
Was that Bakula in that?
I think so. It was that one, or maybe it was another name. Maybe I'm getting confused with another one. I can't remember. But anyway, yeah, he was a quarterback they brought in that kind of like washed up. But I think maybe they went on strike or something. The ball team had, and they brought in these rejects and all. It was sort of like like the baseball movie they did, similar to that.
Yeah.
I can't remember. It's been years ago. You're talking about back in the 90s.
Necessary Roughness. That was the name of that. Yep.
It was, yeah. Okay.
Yep.
I remember it had him and Kathy Ireland in it. Them was the only two I can remember that were in it.
Sinbad was in it also, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Sinbad was in it.
Sinbad.
I believe he was in it.
Let's see. As far as I mean, all I really got as I was beginning to feel kind of rough Friday night after I got off work, we went down to Nancy wanted to go to Sam's, so we stopped by Target and I picked up a couple of things. Or actually, she picked them up for me, and the retro carded Luke Jedi
Knight.
And
that's pretty cool. Force is strong with that.
Yeah, this when I saw that, I said I got to get that one because this one, I believe, to the best of my knowledge, this was the last Star Wars figure I bought back when the movie came out in '83. I remember buying this one, and then, of course, that was around the time I discovered, GI-Joe '82, but I remember seeing this one. I thought, oh, that's Luke, and he's got the lightsaber. It didn't come out of his hand like the other ones did.
Right.
The other ones, it was actually a separate lightsaber, and I thought, that's pretty cool. I got to get that. So I believe that, like I said, that's probably the last original Star Wars I bought as a kid, and then it was GI Joe from there on out. I just but when I saw that, I said, oh, I got to get that because it's it's a exact reproduction of it, and they did have the only other one I had out of this wave. They did have one Han. They had 3 Lukes and they had one Han, and I do remember having Han in the trench coat as well. So I picked those up just just for the nostalgia, and I don't know. I don't know what it is. I mean, they're so hokey. They're the original molds. There's no articulation or anything.
Yeah.
But the retro, even the ones they done for Obi-Wan Kenobi and for Mandalorian, just something about those figures. I just like them. They just have that classic.
Luke have the cloth cloak?
He does.
Oh, yeah,
it's
cool.
You can't see it, but it's just see it right in there behind him.
Yes, behind him, yeah. Okay,
and
cool.
It is cloth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that would have been the only way for that figure to have been made.
Yeah.
With that cloth cloak.
But yeah, I'm gonna have to try to run down the other. Looks like there's the Emperor, a Biker Scout, Lando and Skiff Guard, and Princess Leia as Bosch. Also from that set. So y'all have to find those. I've got most of the retros they've put out so far, and like I said, I picked those up just because they're for the nostalgia. The other figure she got me was Yondu from the Guardians of the Galaxy. They had the whole wave of the movie figures, but like I said, I'm really not interested in those. I wouldn't mind having the Cosmo out of it, but I'm not going to buy all them figures just to get the Cosmo, just where I can have a Cosmo. But so anyhow, like I stated, I was going to do an unboxing since we had people asking about doing unboxing. So slide him out here. I just opened him. Hadn't got him out yet, so we'll see what he's got here. There. And pop him open. him out.
He ain't got his mohawk.
He ain't got his mohawk. No. Looks like he's had a bad day. He's got a split down his head.
Uh-oh.
He needs some Excedrin. He got a splitting headache.
Yeah, he's got a split headache for sure. He feels like I do. So, right off, obviously, I would imagine that a lot. I'm sure it's reused bulks and all. I'm sure those are definitely Captain America's boots. I don't know. They look a little thicker though, don't they? Than maybe they are new sculpts. I don't know.
I don't know. I think that, yeah, because they're a little bit too big on the top for Captain America's, and his kind of comes to a sharp point in the front.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think you're right. So there may be actually new sculpts there,
Yeah.
and it looks like it's actually made on. It's not a piece slid over the boot neither, which I kind of like. Yeah, the one thing I like the is it Thunderbird? I believe it was the Thunderbird figure from the X-Men had the fringe, but it wasn't part of the boot, and it would slide up and down, and it would always get off, and it never looked right. He's got the strap here. It looks like the belt is an individual piece. That's definitely molded onto the arm, and I'm not sure about this is loose. Okay, so that's an individual piece. Yeah, let's see. Hopefully his mohawk's in his bag, because he's not Yondu without the mohawk. Okay, so let's see what we got here. We got obviously his bow.
Nice.
Which is pretty decent. I like that. Yeah, bow. His holster with arrows. Got the peg so it'll fit onto his back. And then like that. There we go. All right. I thought they might have a slot because he did come with an arrow. Well, where's that? I'm gonna get my camera. He did. It would have been neat if they'd been an open slot where you could have stuck it in there, but it looks like it's all solid there. That would have been nice if they'd made it where you could actually stuck it in there. It looks like he has quite a few arrows in there though. Yes, the mohawk. I'm not really sure how it goes on his head though. Let's see. I believe it's supposed to go like this. Let's see if we can get it on here. Look on the box and make sure that looks right. Yep. Okay, there it goes. There we go.
That's a big mohawk.
That is a very big mohawk.
You can sell a boat set.
Mr. T ain't got nothing on him.
Not at all.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe just a little too big. I don't know. I mean, it was fairly big in the comics, so I don't know. That's the
problem with the comics is really kind of depend on who drew it, how big it was.
Right.
You know how that works. So
yeah, that's true. It's sort of like the thing. I mean, because if you actually read the official Marvel handbook, the thing was, I think 6 foot. Like supposed to be like 6'2" or something.
Yeah.
Just normal size, but sometimes he was as big as the Hulk. Next time he looked like he was shorter than Mr. Fantastic. It just depends on who drew him, But so that's Yondu, and I don't know. I think it's a pretty nice looking figure. It's got the elbows. I mean the shoulder joints and all that's not bulky. That's kind of I guess the new joints that they're using now, and got the usual articulation here and at the knees, double jointed elbows. And,
I'm surprised it's not pinless.
You're right. Yeah, it's not. It is. It does have pins. You're right. And I'm like you. I am surprised. It's probably.
I mean, I'm okay with that.
I am too. I don't.
I like my knees and I like my joints to match the rest of my body. So yeah.
Right. I don't know. I don't understand why everybody's so hung up on that. To me, it's still a good looking figure, even if it's got pins. I mean, because it's a toy. I mean,
The only legit argument I've heard is when you got a Spider-Man figure, the outside of his arm will have that red stripe, but the inside of his arm's blue. Well, if you got a red pin, it'll look good on the outside, but the inside you got that big red pin.
Yeah, big
if
red
they would have
pin.
cast that 2 different colors, nobody really ever said anything. But everybody like, I can see that pin. I'm like, okay, paint it.
Yeah.
Just put a little dab of paint there. Let's go.
Or just recognize the fact that, hey, it's a toy. It's it's not perfect.
They ain't trying to be a heretic. You can't talk like they're just toys. They're collectibles. Collectibles.
Yeah. But that's Yondu. So yeah, I'm trying to remember because I know they've done.
And Corey makes a good point. You can't really do customs with pinless.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of people
use the whole arms, and legs.
And I've seen a lot of people complain about that. As a matter of fact, about the well, everybody's going to complain about something, right?
In 2023, no way.
Yeah.
People are happy with everything they get and appreciate it.
Yeah. But yeah,
that's good. Fine. I'm thinking I probably need one now. So
yeah.
Thanks, John.
He's pretty cool. He's a pretty good figure. Oh, you showing you off everybody's got an indie but me now, and I'm still holding out. But mainly probably because I ain't found one yet.
As soon as he sees one, he'll get it. Thank you.
I mentioned on my Instagram, guy asked me for address, showed up in my mail 3 days later. So yeah, I'm like, I'm happy with that. He just likes my pictures.
It's kind of hoping your target got another case in.
Oh,
the other big thing that I'm fighting off is the Batmobile, because the 89 Batmobile is my all-time favorite Batmobile. I love that car. I just think it's awesome. And then now McFarlane puts this one out, but the only thing I don't like about it is it's not a 2-seater.
Yeah.
Even the Toy Biz one was a 2-seater. It just didn't have the top on it. It was more like a convertible, but it did have it did have 2 seats, where you could put, that unfortunately they never made a Vicky Vale figure for that line, but if they had, they would have had a place for her to sit, it was a 2-seater.
I've heard people complaining that the canopy on it's actually just a dark gray and it doesn't match the rest of the body. So.
Oh, really? Well, I actually found because that was one of the ones that I'd always wanted was the 89 Toy Biz one, and I actually found one with the box. And I made the guy offer, and I'm waiting to hear back from him. So we'll see how that goes. I may get me a Batmobile. It just may not be the new one.
See that, John?
Mike Zito. Okay. Don't tempt me now. Come on.
He's been trying to avoid that line.
Yeah. Because if I end up getting him, then I'll have to get them all. That's my thing. I got to stay away. They are nice figures from what I've seen. I mean, and I agree with Rick. I really like the well, I forgot her name.
Marion.
Marion. I really like the Marion figure. I think it
is really nice.
And the frying pan and all that. So
yeah.
And the little monkeys. Comes that little monkey. So that's all.
Monkey.
Yeah. And Sala looks like it's pretty he's pretty cool too,
Yeah.
And all of them really do. But
John
what's got there looks pretty cool too. I'm regretting not picking that up.
What's that?
That Yondu, I like that. I'm gonna have to pick. I saw it at Target when they come out, and I passed up on it, and then of course they didn't have none the other day. I'm like, oh crap.
That's the first time I'd seen it. Of course, I don't get to Target that often, about maybe twice a month. Because it's the closest one's in Oxford, so it's a good hour drive for me down there. So, but yeah, he's a pretty cool figure. And I was trying to remember because I know they've done Vance Astro, and I was thinking there was one other member of the original Guardians that they've put out, but I can't remember who it is. I'd have to look now.
I don't remember the original Guardians, so I got that Vance Astro figure.
Yeah,
I'm wishing they would do another one that would match more on the lines of the New Warriors, so I can put them on my New Warriors. But
yeah, because I think he come out in like the first Guardians of the Galaxy wave when the first movie come out, I believe.
Yeah, Yeah, long time ago.
But anyway,
Still a solid figure, but yeah, it's on that old Bucky Cat buck. So yeah, that looks really good. Looks like the paint app's pretty good on it and stuff too.
it does.
So,
I honestly do not see anything wrong with the paint on it. I mean, you can look right there at the star,
got that old sourpuss look on his face.
the gold and all down through there. There's no. I mean, generally, like especially where you got the creases, like with the like the Star-Lord figure. If you look right in the creases of the arms where the muscles are, you can see where paint. You know where it didn't get painted. It was down in the crevices.
Yeah.
But this actually, I mean, the gold looks like it went all the way down into the crevices on there. You know, looks pretty good.
I wonder if you threw him in the air and why he fell. If he hollered, "I'm Mary Poppins, y'all."
I don't know. That's probably one of my favorite. That's probably my most favorite line out of any Marvel movie.
Mary Poppins, y'all.
Yeah, you look like Mary Poppins. Is he cool? He said, "Yeah, he's cool." Let's see if we can get the bow in his hand there. Let's see here. Hold the arrow. Hold there. Whoop. Yeah, there goes Mara. Oh well.
Missiles and arrows. Mine was frying pans.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's neat because they done it like a clear plastic. Because if I remember right, wasn't it in the comics? I think it was more like an energy ribbon that he would pull that was like electrical or something like that. If I remember right.
Yeah, I know you like the historic things, but you're getting real historic. I don't remember that far back. Was that back during the Stan Lee, Jack Kirby days?
No, this the Guardians of the Galaxies were the comic come out in the 90s.
Oh.
Like early 90s, early to mid 90s, and it runs like
my other comic ones was Silver Surfer, the Gladiator, Nova, and somebody else was the Guardians. That's that. You know, I don't remember the team before that. I know there've been a few. So,
yeah. But yeah, they're or they might have been late 80s. I can't remember. But I think the team probably appeared in the 80s, but they actually got their own comic series in the 90s. And I don't know, it run like 60 or 80 issues, I think. But yeah, there's Yondu. And so anyway, there's another unboxing. So
well, let's see. There's Marvel Presents. They showed up in Marvel Presents. Let me see if I can throw this on the screen. Let you see what I'm seeing here. Let's see. Was that Starhawk?
featuring the power of Starhawk.
I don't know who all these other guys were.
So you got that's Vance Astro there on the right.
Yeah, and then Yondu. Who's the guy, the ice guy in the back or something? What? Yeah. So yeah, they so I that's 1976 when that was stuff. So they were in that one.
Oh yeah, okay. Marvel Comics.
So, yeah, but anyways.
So it was like I guess they popped up here and there, and then they did. Well, it's sort of like Wolverine. I mean, Wolverine didn't really get his own series until the late 80s, even though he was around in the 70s.
Well, the same thing with Batman. He was Detective Comics for a long, long time before he became the Batman comics. So
right. Yeah.
And Action Comics carried Superman for like first couple of years,
right?
And then become Superman Comics. So I don't know. It's way back.
I just wished I had a number one in any kind of condition. Preferably mint. If I did, I would sell it and retire.
That'd be a hard, it's worth all that money and all that stuff, but it still kind of bothers you that you sold that, because I'm like, I have this. I have something that no one else has or something, or only select few people have.
Well, you know, when I daydream about it, I daydream of finding 2 copies. That way I can sell one and keep one. I mean, if I'm going to dream, might as well dream big, right?
I pulled up the Marvel Superheroes Guardians of the Galaxy. It's from 1969, and it has Vance Astro, Charlie 27, Martin X, and Yondu, the original 4.
Okay.
That was done by Gene Colan and Mike Espestio, however you pronounce that stuff. So way back 1969, January.
Okay.
So
when was the series? You got to, does it show the series there?
Marvel Superheroes presents Guardians of the Galaxy. So
I'm talking about just the regular, the series that was titled Guardians of the Galaxy. When was it? Because I'm thinking.
Well, I got Guardians of the Galaxy number 1, 1990, June of 1990.
Okay.
And that had Starhawk, Aletta, Ogood, Nikki, a whole bunch of people I don't recognize. Got Yondu and Vance Astro, and a whole bunch of other people in it.
Yeah. But that was 1990. That's what I was thinking. It was around 90. I knew it was when they changed the logo because, you know, every 10 years they change their logo or change the format. DC does the same thing. And
But, you know, when the movies come out, a lot of people had no idea who the Guardians of the Galaxy was.
right.
You know, so.
And the actual the Guardians of the Galaxy from the movie, none of them were the original Guardians except for Yondu. And he's the only one that's appeared so far that was. I mean, later on, during I think they come together right after the Annihilation storyline in the mid 2000s, and I think that's when Star-Lord and Groot and Rocket and all them become the new Guardians of the Galaxy.
Wasn't Groot a bad guy in the beginning?
Yeah, he was kind of like a monster in his very first appearance.
Yeah, according to this, in 1989, the Marvel's editor-in-chief, Tom DeFalco, revived the Guardians of the Galaxy in order to cash in on the popularity of the TV series Star Trek Next Generation. So that's why they wanted some space-themed outer space characters for stuff. So that makes sense.
And I think halfway through the series, they changed it to the Guardians of the Galaxy in the year 3000 or something. So something happened, and they ended up getting transported to the future, and the rest of the series took place in the year 3000 or something like that, if I remember right. So that would have been more in line too with getting it closer to the Star Trek timeline, or actually, that'd be beyond Star Trek because I think Next Generation was what, the 25th century. I think the original series was the 24th century, and the Next Generation was 25th.
I think so. Yeah, so one thing leads to another with that kind of stuff. So yeah, you cash in on stuff, popularity, space movies. It kind of cost GI Joe a lot when GI Joe kind of cashed in on the popularity of the small figures with the Star Wars characters and all that kind of stuff, and shifting it down. But then GI Joe kind of lost out to those things because in a way you could kind of think Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles kind of killed out GI Joe because attention shifted to that kind of stuff for the newer generation. Plus, Power Rangers had real life people. Ninja Turtles had real life movies, all that kind of stuff, and GI Joe was still just a cartoon. And it's like, so it's, I don't know. I think Hasbro and stuff like that with that GI Joe property has left in their lifetime. They could have just printed money with that property.
Oh, yeah.
Not, and the movies we have got have been crap. It's like someone's vision of GI Joe. Don't give me your vision of GI Joe. Give me GI Joe. But giving me your vision. So.
But you kind of see at the time, because like you said, Power Rangers, Ninja Turtles, they were all into like the ninja stuff. So then you had Ninja Force, and then the 90s was when the environmental stuff really started becoming a big deal. And so then they had the Eco Warriors, and then drugs was a big deal. So then they had the DEF, and they were trying to change GI Joe to match the times, and I get that, but it just kind of lost something along the way because it was, military originally.
Yeah.
And They were doing what they had to do to keep selling toys. I get that.
And they tried to bring the military style back with Sergeant Savage.
Right.
Man, that was just straight trash.
Again, I liked it. I thought it was entertaining. I mean, it wasn't G.I. Joe and stuff, but yeah, Mike Zero says Street Fighter movie. So, did you see the Street Fighter movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Yeah.
Right.
It was. I've seen the draft. It was supposed to have been Cobra Commander, and he was supposed to have been Duke. All that kind of stuff. It was all going to be Cobra Island. I mean, all that stuff. Then they just dropped the ball, and Street Fighter was so much popular, and because of video games, and they switched it, and that's why it turned out to be, pretty, cheesy and stuff. But yeah, so every time I watch that movie, because I still got it on VHS, I have got it on DVD too. I'm like, yeah, this is supposed to have been. He's supposed to have been Duke, blah blah. But I don't know that.
Well, that explains why they done the Street Fighter G.I. Joe figures, because the first wave of figures had the G.I. Joe brand on it. Then later they just called them. Actually, didn't they change it to Mortal Kombat?
I think they did some Mortal Kombat, but
later on they did. Yeah,
it was basically the same molds and the same characters, I think.
But Street Fighters, it even involved. Y'all remember the real life commercials they had and everything else. They had the Street Fighters, the Baka and Vega and all that stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it was cool, but it was everything was shifting to the Asian market with Power Rangers and big creatures like Godzilla. You got all that with Power Rangers and in the video games. So you could be that. And the video games that you got of G.I. Joe at the time were just sucked again because Hasbro just doesn't know how to market this property. I don't know. It's just, it's crazy. I don't know. Obviously, I don't run a multi-billion-dollar corporation, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But I know what I'd like to see.
Yeah. But we do know what we like, so.
Yeah, but we at that time were growing up, and we were not buying the toys either because that was part of what we did and stuff. So, and now we have all these cool collectibles to buy and all that kind of stuff. And I'm happy they came out with the classified line. Of course, I collected the 50th and the 35th and the 25th. I mean, if they're going to make cool looking G.I. Joe figures, I'm going to do it. Now, I ain't collecting Super 7s, little bitty guys reaction, because I'm not going to support anything that puts the toy line backwards. And going back, making products with 5 points for articulation is going backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Give me good sculpts with great articulation. That's the direction we were going.
Yep.
Being cheap and lazy and giving me this other stuff. I understand if you want the retro feel, you want the cars and all that stuff, because you're just going to put up on the wall, and and if you got Shane's money, you can just wallpaper your house with those things. Now, me, I have a photography interest. Maybe that's the way I still play with my toys at 55, but you can't do nothing with 5 points for articulation.
Yeah. The only thing about those is they're putting out figures that we'll probably never get otherwise, like the Funhouse episode where who was it? Cobra Commander and Baroness and Flint J.
One of my favorite ones, yeah.
Yeah, and they had the clown, look like snow troopers with clown heads and all that. I mean, they're putting those out in those reaction figures and just
think as a kid we saw Cobra and G.I. Joe working together to fight the same thing. It was like, this is so and they decimated. They kicked butt, took names. In fact, they didn't care about the names. They just kicked butt. But I've always been a big Cobra fan, and I've always hated the way they made him such a buffoon. And in that episode, he was an exceptional buffoon and coward. I'm like, I understand kids' cartoon, they can't glorify the bad guys because that's just not stuff. But it didn't. I don't know. I guess I just always a little analytical thinking and going, okay, this guy runs a terrorist organization full of really bad people, and he's this big of an idiot. He must pay very well.
That's why so many people like the comic, because in the comic he was a pretty bad dude.
I know a lot of people don't like those IDW ones and stuff. that was a very mature storyline.
Yeah.
You know, they really got they grew up with that. You know, so. Well, got anything else there, GI-Jon?
That's all I've got this week.
Oh, that's good. I see you got your guard in the back there with your stormtroopers. I guess you're safe. Huh?
Oh yeah, I got one on each side here. I don't know if you can see the other one. There's one over on this side. Well,
yeah, I saw when you got up.
He's right over there anyway. He had an accident though. He's missing a hand. I got to try to put his hand back on.
A couple years back, I bought that Darth Vader one. It was that tall, and I traded off another guy. I wished I would.
Yeah, these things were. Gosh, I think $30.
Mm-hmm.
And Walmart in Oxford, as a matter of fact, I went down there and they had about 20 of them on clearance for, I think it was either $5 or $7 a piece.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
And I bought 4 of them. I wished I'd went ahead and bought all of them. I ended up giving actually these 2 I give to my nephews, and later on when they got older they didn't want them, so I got them back. But I give a guy I work with. He had a little boy. He just loved Star Wars, so I give him one, and another friend of ours that had a little boy, and I give him one. And I mean, they were so cheap. I said it was great, to give out and give kids that were interested in it and kind of get into it,
Those helmets are based upon the Star Wars Rebels animated series, aren't
they? I don't remember. I don't remember if they're. Gosh, this has been like 10 years ago when I got these. So I was looking to see if they even had a copyright on them.
Because the Rebels had a little different version of the Stormtrooper helmet. So
when did the Rebels come out? This is 2014. It's copyright on these. Jack Specific's the one that put them out. Jack Specific, yeah. But yeah, his hands. My nephew was in here a few weeks ago, picked him up and dropped him right on the hand and broke the hand off. So I don't know where the hand went to now. I got to find it and try to see if I can repair it. But yeah, we had a lot of fun with these when Marshall first come live with us because he was 5 at the time. We had him in his room, and
Rebels started October the 3rd of. Okay, it was there and then it freaking fleeked over. It was announced in 2013 and was released to Walt Disney Company acquisition. Blah 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 blah. Where did it go? Jeez Louise, man.
So those probably were based off that then, I guess. I don't know. They had I remember they done several different ones.
They have a different version of the Stormtrooper helmet. Most of it's all about the same, but their helmets looked a little bit less intimidating, I guess, for the cartoon or something. I don't know. So,
yeah, we would have them in Marshall's room and like
2014, October 13th, 2014.
Okay, but we would like he would like be in the bathroom or something, and me and Nancy would go in there and we'd take them, put them in the living room or put them, and he'd come back. Where'd they get? I said, I don't know. I ain't seen them, And one day we put them on one of them on the front porch on his bicycle, and told him, so man, that stormtrooper's running off of your bicycle. It was like Elf on the Shelf, but we were using these stormtroopers. He'd go in there and one of them be sitting on the toilet. And he's like, he's on the toilet.
We're on the paper, yeah.
But,
that's awesome.
But we had a lot of fun with that. We'd move them around all the time on him. He'd have to go looking for them, trying to figure out where they were at, and what they were doing, what mischief they were getting into. Yeah, Nancy dressed up as Darth Vader and got him out there in the swimming pool with her one day. Pictures and showed him while he was at school. Those are the things kids remember, though. When they get older. Those are the memories that they'll have, and that's what it's about. That's what we're talking about. That's what introducing this great stuff to kids. Let them enjoy it the way we did, and that's what's important. And like I said, I wished I'd have bought every one of them I had at that price. I would have given them all away because, like I said, every time I turned around as a kid, I like Star Wars, And like I said, I ended up giving. I was going to keep one. I ended up giving all 4 of them away, but two of them come back. So, if you love it, let it go, and if it comes back, it was meant to be, I guess. So I got 2 of them back. But until sometime down the road, I may find another kid that wants one, and I'll give it to them. So, but
you better watch out. Philip will be wanting to get one.
He may be the next kid I come across with one.
He might trade you a biggie bag for one.
Yeah.
Well, we got 14 minutes left, Shane. What you got?
It's been a real dry weekend for me. Didn't find much. We ventured up to Tupelo with a couple of our friends yesterday, and come across this little place called Relic Antique Shop. And I was just talking toys with this guy in there, and he's a big toy guy also. And we got to talking about it, and they're actually going to have a toy swap there at their place. It's going to be their second one they've had, last year being their first. And he said it was last year they done 30 something spots, I believe he said, and it was filled up in just a couple of days of people doing it. And this year they're doing 40. They've got it mapped out where they can do 42 spots, and I think it would be a great event. He said last year they had all kinds of stuff, but I got the flyer on my phone. I posted it on the page. I don't know if you can really see it too well. But it's May the 27th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And he said if you want the good deals, get there early because guys were making deals like crazy. But didn't really find any toys this weekend. What I did find, I told you guys, got took from me. But
yeah, what's the story on that? Let's hear the story on that.
Well, for the Lego fans in the group, I found the Walt Disney mystery minifigs, and I went to the register and they didn't ring up. And first, a young girl was there, and she was like, "Well, I don't know what the problem is. Let me get someone else." And then another lady come over, and she was just very rude from the get-go about it. And I told her, I said, "Look, I said they're $4.97. I mean, you can just ring them up." But she wasn't having any of that. And then she scanned them on her little handheld, and she said, "Oh, there's a recall on these, so I can't sell them to you."
A recall.
And there was a whole box of them on the shelf. And I was telling Rick earlier that I always fill the packs because you can fill for certain items for certain figures you want to get. And I felt out 5 packs, and as I was counting them out, as I was filling through, I was counting out. There's 24 packs of the box. There was only 20 packs there. So someone had already obviously either stolen 4 packs or already bought them one. So I just went ahead and took them up there, and she just was very rude about it. Wouldn't budge. Said there's a recall on them. And I'm like, a recall on Lego toys? Never heard of such. But anyway, I didn't get to buy them, but ain't no big deal. I'll find them. But other than that, thanks to Rick's starting to repost Find It Fridays, I've got me a, like I said, I got it on my phone, so let me see if I can get a picture.
Man at Arms?
Yeah. Old Man at Arms.
Yeah.
And my Manny face. Thanks to Jason Adams in our group. He's hooking me up with them. He's got them in hand, so just going to plan a date where we can get together. Maybe all you guys ride out with us and have dinner somewhere and just get together and hang out one weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks to him and Rick's posting of the Find It Friday again, we turning out pretty good right now. And that's pretty much all I got. But I mean, I'm really liking this Old Man at Arms. It is. If y'all seen the pictures of it, it's really fantastic in my opinion. But yeah, I would. And the guy that I was talking to at Relics, to get back to that, he he is a big toy guy. And I know we've been talking about branching our Merc name out. And I think he may be one we could speak with on that. So
What?
we'll talk
Have a
about
Mississippi
that.
Merc? Have a
Yeah,
Mississippi toy Merc?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think, we've been talking about branching out into other states. And, I go to Tennessee a lot and talk to different guys. And actually got in contact with another guy in Tennessee that's a big toy collector. And he's thinking about joining the Merc line also. So, I mean, we could possibly go in big time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what, we really want to do, help each other out with things. And, Jason getting these multiverse for me, or not multiverse, revelations, or whatever you want to call them, Eternia, new Eternia figures. That's what it's about. We're supposed to help each other out. And, when you guys see this or see the Find It Friday, post what you're looking for, because we are looking. You may think, oh, well, they ain't gonna look for nothing I'm looking for, but I can attest to Jason has hooked me up right now with 2 things I was looking for that day I posted. Dave Bryant, for instance, he's down right now, and he posted where he was looking for the vampire Joker,
Yeah.
and the Beast Boy.
Yeah.
Find It Friday hooked him right up.
Yeah, I'm a crap friend because I didn't go across the street and pick them up for him. I saw him that morning when I stopped in after work, but like I said, I've been fighting with my back because I've done it. I just don't want,
I don't expect anyone to.
Did you see this Corey on the screen, by the way? So, like, take it down.
No, it was Walmart, Corey. But I've hated on Walmart all day today, so the wife was like, "Let's go to Walmart and get some dirt," because she's into the gardening thing, and I'm like, "I ain't going to Walmart. Forget it. I hate Walmart." But I ended up going anyway. They didn't have nothing. But back to the Find It Friday. We will be looking. I mean, if you got something you're looking for, new, old, it don't matter. Let us know. But that's pretty much all I've got today.
Well, I set that as an automatic thing to post for Fridays. I couldn't remember what you or whoever it was called the Thursday one. So
it was Throwback Thursday.
Throwback. Okay, I'll put that where it'll post.
It was kind of like for just vintage. If you was looking for something vintage, and then the Find It Friday. But I mean, we can just go with Find It Friday if you're looking for anything, anytime, any brand. But I think it's a good thing. I like our community that we've got going on. I see that more people are starting to open up in the community and post more things. That's what we want. We want you guys. This is for you. This is your page. I may have come up with this harebrained scheme, and Rick and all these guys followed me, this is for you guys and girls. We got a few ladies in there that collect, and this is for y'all. And I encourage you to participate. We can't help you if you don't tell us what you're looking for. And I'm always looking.
We don't call him Indiana Shane for nothing.
Indiana struck out this weekend, boys. I did see a lot of vintage stuff this weekend, but the place I saw them at, they were a little steep on their prices, and they didn't really know what they were doing because they had complete stuff marked as complete that wasn't complete. And being that I know what comes with certain things and certain figures, I could tell it right off bat that he was charging complete prices for incomplete items. And, but even then he was still expensive. So I had to pass on a lot of his stuff. He had some sectoid figures.
Didn't go smack him around or nothing?
And I thought about it. Wife told me I couldn't go to jail in Mississippi, though.
No, bad idea.
Yeah. So I didn't hit nobody or kick no kids this weekend. I'm kind of upset about it. It is what it is.
Feels like your
There's
week's
always,
not complete.
there's always next weekend for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a pretty good weekend, just hanging out with friends and stuff. Like I said, did see some things, but did pass on a lot of stuff. Friend of mine, though, mentioned this. He bought a Briar Rabbit. I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of that, right? Disney's Briar Rabbit.
Yeah.
Mm.
It is what the Splash Mountain ride was originally themed off of.
Yeah.
Was the Briar Rabbit books, and it's a little bitty book. I mean, it's old. It was like 1964 book. Well, he bought it for $8, and I didn't know what he was buying. And he comes out to the car and he's like, "Oh, man, I bought this little book." So I just said, "Well, let me look that thing up and see what it looks like." So I looked it up on eBay, and this book is going for about $150, $175. And I was kind of mad because he found it and I didn't. But he's one that will sell it. I would be one that would keep it. And that's a good thing. But just because it's unique, it was just cool looking, but it was pretty cool. But yeah, it was called Briar Rabbit. And then in the book, it's got Briar Bear, Briar Alligator, and just different things like that. But it was pretty cool. But other than that, no toys. But
There's always next week.
Oh yeah, there's always next weekend. Things in my local area is just absolutely dry right now. I mean, it is just terrible. Like the 2 Walmarts within 15 minutes of me, both directions, they've not had anything in so long. I can't remember the last thing I bought from them.
All the Walmarts in my area now are getting Joe's, but it's all the Spirit Wave and the Zorana Wave. They're not getting any of the Falcon or CoverGirl or anything. It's like I don't know what happened to their distribution, but man, they're like 6 months behind. If they'd got these figures 6 months ago, they would have sold. But now they're not going to sell because everybody's done got them.
I've seen people post where their Walmarts will sell them like $17. I'm like, well, if I can find me a Dusty for 17, because I need another one because I just need the head. So well, $17 for a little head's pretty cheap.
I can get you. There's Dusty, but I don't know. I hadn't. The Zorana rung up 1986. The Crips and Guards rung up 17, but I don't know about Dusty because I didn't try getting one of those.
I didn't
either. Got another Zorana just because I wanted one with where I could display with both hair pieces. So.
Right.
And but I'll pick a Dusty up if you want one for 17. I'll check it and see if they got it right here.
Yeah, I need another Dusty head.
They did have some in Florence also.
Yeah.
One also.
They have everybody but Dusty here, and I don't. They're all still 24 and change stuff. So I don't know. Well, gentlemen, we are at that last final minute where we say goodbye to everybody. It's been a great evening. Been pretty entertaining. I think. I mean, how many people have a Sasquatch on there? Stuff. So, anyways, if Dave's still on there. He's still, brother. I hope you're feeling better. Y'all got anything, guys?
I'm just like and subscribe.
Yep.
Yeah, we noticed we got people that watch us, but most of our watchers are not subscribers. Yep. So subscribe. We don't post but once a week, so we're not going to blow up your notifications or anything like that. So we appreciate you watching. Everything else, y'all give a look around squatchnut.com. It's got some really cool stuff, and we for now, y'all have a good night.
Thanks, Brandon, for coming on.